Hi, I'm Rebecca Bannister. I'm here to talk to you about Girl Rising, which was a film produced and directed by Richard Robbins in 2013. He talks and he goes through the negative barriers associated with girls in school and why it's important to advocate for girls to continue in education. The film goes through and reenacts the true stories about 9 girls from 9 different countries. We hear narrators from like Anne Hathaway, Meryl Streep, and a few others that you might know. This is the film cover for Girl Rising. A little bit of background about it. Educating girls can change the world in more ways than one. If a girl has higher wages, she'll be able to provide for her family and in turn create a better life for herself. I thought it was interesting to hear that every year a girl is in school, her income increases by 10%. On the contrary, if she's not in school, she will not be able to provide for her family and continue to live in poverty. In the film, we follow different girls from different countries, and it's important to see how education has either hurt them or encouraged them. We see the main issue around this is their gender and the fact that they are girls. Many families in other countries feel that educating their daughters is a waste of money, so they'll send their sons to school and pay for their sons to do other things that they wouldn't do for their daughters. Education can also prevent the spread of HIV. A staggering statistic that really struck me was that 700,000 HIV cases a year could be prevented if they put their child in school. The spread of HIV is mainly due to the fact that girls are sold off as wives to husbands that may have had more than one partner before, or they're sold into trafficking for money by their families because they don't need them at home. If a girl is encouraged to stay in school, it increases their chances of not contracting HIV, which would further their education, their outcomes, and their income in life. This was a really interesting video that I watched about the impacts of Girl Rising and how the movie just has really shed light on some of the hot topics about education in girls worldwide. So, film elements in the film. First off, we see that it's a true story, so that makes it even more impactful. It's really persuasive in the fact that it is a true story and that there are stakeholders in it that really pull at your heartstrings, and there's advocates out there that are making a positive change for education. We also see that there are different girls portrayed in each story throughout the film. One that really struck me was Wadley's story. Her family lived in Haiti, I believe, and there was an earthquake, and that earthquake took down her school, took down her home. Her mother couldn't afford to send her to school, and the teacher wouldn't let her, but Wadley was so persistent that her teacher ended up just being like, whatever, you can stay in school, I'm tired of arguing with you. And I thought that was really awesome to hear and to see. We also see how there's a hope and yearning for change to occur through the lighting. Bright lights signify just like a bright hope, and that's really what each story from each girl consisted of. Wally was so persistent to stay in school. Suma was freed from her master and now advocates for girls that are bonded. Marame stood up for herself, and now she helps girls going through hard times through her radio station. Senna was encouraged to go to school, and now she's defending the poor and vulnerable. So you can see through each girl's story, and there's others, that education not only impacts them, but impacts so many people around them. We also see that impacts of advocating for girls and how you really can make such an impact in firsthand by encouraging these girls to continue. Right here we have the link for Girl Rising, and then a quote from Nelson Mandela: "Education is the most powerful weapon which use to change the world." So some cultural significance. There are many things that are in play throughout this film. Something that I understood was that girls need education to increase their outlook on life. It makes sense because if they can continue in school, then they will have increased earnings and be able to provide for their families. A stat that really gave me hope is that educated mothers are twice as likely to send their child to school, and that child that is born to a literate mother is 50% more likely to survive past age 5, and that's crazy to me that there aren't kids that survive purely due to the mother being uneducated about health things. I also realized how fortunate I am to live in America, and I really take it for granted sometimes that education it's free here and not in other countries. I didn't realize that most other countries you have to pay for like public school, and that's just crazy to me. I feel like if most families understood the importance of sending both their son and daughter to school, it would really open their eyes to the benefits of it. I also came to question what I could do as an American girl to help and advocate for these girls. I would really like for this film to be shown in schools so others can understand it. Something that I think needs to be addressed is the cultural impact of families. Oftentimes, girls are seen as lower than men, and so they're sent off or bonded to a master as a slave. And we see that in one of the girls' stories. A quote that I really liked was, "Girls are not the problem, they are the solution. We can solve a lot of problems." Here's a picture. And here was a tweet. So a personal response, being a female made me really appreciate the ability to go to school. Sometimes I take it for granted, but I hope I never will again after seeing this film. Didn't realize that 130 million girls are out of school. And that was really eye-opening and life-changing because, again, I take it for granted. And it still happens in 2021. That's just crazy to me. I was definitely transported to another world or different life by viewing this film through the girls' eyes. It was really cool and heartbreaking to hear some of their stories and how education could have prevented it, or education was the reason why they're out of it. So it made me really appreciate it. Here is a link about Girl Rising. So my reflective response: girls need education. Girls need individuals to look out for their best interests, and girls need people to care about their well-being. There are many motivations associated with educating girls worldwide, the main being that it would prolong their life and prospects, so increase their wages, increase their life expectancy, and so on. In the film, they stated that educating girls will help the economy, so this is a political motivation and factor, because if you educate the girl, she will be able to provide for her family, and in turn increase her income and increase the economy. So educating mothers will also lead to the survival and ultimate saving of a child's life. The whole film compared different cultures in their views on education. It was really impactful to see different cultures and how they associate education with girls, or lack thereof. More people need to see this film and need to be educated on what actually happens in other parts of the world, because honestly, I never knew some of the things I had learned in the film, and it made me really cherish what I have here in America. So here's just the link if you want to watch the film. It was free for me. And here is my works cited. Thank you.